Welcome to the We Hack Purple podcast, where each episode we meet a new amazing human being. I am your host, Tanya Jenka, and with me today is Olivia Rose. Hi, Olivia.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. Would you mind telling our audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a longtime security person, pretty old dog when it comes to security. I've been in the field for about 21 years. Most of that has been in security consulting. Last four, I have been an internal CISO. And now I am bridging out and going back into consulting with my own company as a virtual CISO. So lots of different changes and options in my career.
That is excellent. Olivia and I met through the Forte Group, which is an American nonprofit founded by Chelsea Wang and a bunch of other ridiculously amazing ladies, and is basically a community for women who are founders, who are CEOs, who are CISOs, who work in the security field, so that basically we can teach each other how to be even more awesome. Or that's what I would say our mission is.
A lot of them are a lot smarter than I am. We have some privacy as well in there.
Actually, that's true. We do have quite a few people that specialize in privacy, anti-harassment, cyber marketing, like just every topic that surrounds the idea of a person's security. But I wasn't supposed to talk about Forte, I was supposed to talk about you. And so a thing that you and I were talking about a bit before we started recording that I think the audience might be super interested in is, how do we make leadership care about what we're doing?
Well, you know this. It doesn't compute. So take Star Wars, you got R2-D2, or who was it? I am not a techie. I am so sorry. Who's the figure just does not compute in Star Wars?
Is that CP3? So I've never seen Star Wars. I know people right now are like, that's it, I'm unfollowing Tanya, I'm going to block her account. I've seen the first 5 minutes numerous times, but I haven't seen the whole thing before of it. When I was a baby, I saw some of them apparently.
I think you just lost your techie card.
I know all the Star Trek though, so I've earned it back.
Well, I like Star Trek
dedication.
I like Star Trek better. And Phil Venables from Google Cloud likes Star Trek better than Star Wars as well. So we are in good company. Anyway, that aside. The whole point is when you are focused on doing technical things every day, like coding and programming and developing and all these good things where you're all about code, when you step into an elevator with a leader who is not a technical leader, which is most of the company most of the time, or somebody from the board of directors, they say, to be polite, what have you been working on? And then you, of course, get all excited about this new piece of code. We just merged it. It was very exciting. And they look at you like, I cannot wait to get off this elevator. This person is like draining me right now. That's how they're looking at you. And so a lot of times when even security leaders go into the boardroom and they're talking about how, all their metrics like patch times have been reduced. And, this is cause for great excitement, right? Or 100% of non-emergency merges are now approved before we push it into production. This is exciting. This is great news, right? Mean time to respond is reduced. Very exciting. The board looks at you like, what are you talking about? Talk like some sense, right? Maybe you have one person who's like, hey, that's great. That's awesome. That's I'll keep it. But they're like, but the rest of the board's like, okay. So how do you make it compute, right? How do you make what you're doing? Because what you're doing on a daily basis, how do you translate that into what they get, what they understand? And that's where the big divide is. So my framework that I work with quite a bit is how to do that translation piece. And it's what a lot of people struggle with. And so the way to think about it is there are 6 common factors. I just put my fingers up like this, 4. 6. Yeah, if you're watching this, if you're just listening to this, I just put up 4 fingers and I very vehemently said, there are 6. Who cares about details, right? There are 6 common factors that all leadership thinks about, that globally it's what they care about. 6 things. And they are, I'm going to say these kind of slowly so you can write them down. The first is gain revenue, making money, right? Companies want to make money. End of story. 2, they want to save money. So they want to lower operating expenses. That's the second one. The third one, they want to improve internal efficiencies and operations. The fourth one is they want to, this is kind of a catch-all bucket, reduce risk. So we need to understand better as tech people that there are other things outside of security risk for a company. There's a lot of other things like brand, financial, reputation. Well, that's brand. There's a lot of other risks out there that we need to consider. The fourth one is scaling globally, want to grow and take over the universe. And the last one, the 6th one that they care about is increasing customer satisfaction. So they come back and they buy more. So if you look at all company drivers, you can pretty much put every single one of them into one of those 6 buckets. So this is exactly those 6. This is exactly how you need to roll up what you're doing into one of those buckets. And it's challenging to do. For example, so sometimes it means getting into a room and literally arguing between should it go in this one or this one.
Yeah.
Right? So I can give you an example for you techies. Okay. So going back to at a company I was at once, long time ago, not really long time ago, we were having a little issue with our programmers just merging code without getting manager approval. And so we had to put in a process where you can't do that unless it's an emergency change. And then you need to go back and get manager approval, right? So you can't just really put stuff into production, just because.
I hope not.
Yeah. That's what we have. So the first step there is to develop the process. All right, from now on, we are not going to allow these to happen. This is the process, blah, blah, blah. So of course, security meets with engineering and these people and those people, and everybody gets together and puts together this document. So you come out with this process. Now, out of those 6 factors, gain revenue, lower costs, improve operations, reduce risk, scale smoothly, grow, and then increase customer satisfaction. At the end of the day, the impact of developing this process is going to improve internal operations. Okay. So this is at a very, very high level. Next time you're on an elevator and the CEO gets on, it's like, so Tanya, what have you been working on? And the CEO's looking at you like, oh my God, I can't wait for my floor. I know this is going to be boring as hell. She's going to start talking some random coding stuff, which I'm going to have no idea what she's talking about. So next time that happens, you can say, well, we have put in some things that are actually going to end up leading to improving our internal operations.
Yeah. We're going to push security left so that we can save money and have a more effective process for releasing software, and we'll have significantly fewer security incidents because of this improvement in process. And they'll be
exactly. You don't even need to go that far. If they come back and they ask, Then you go into that because then they're interested. But see, it turns it into a positive. And then they want to ask. And then you go in with what you're saying instead of talking about, well, everybody was like merging code and, blah, 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 without approvals. Because then they're going to be like, so what? Big deal. So that's kind of it at a high level. If you stick to these 6 factors, if you can take what you're doing and at the end of the day, meaning not right away, not the immediate benefit, because that's sometimes different, the long term, 2 to 3 years down the road, what is the benefit it's going to bring for one of these 6? And it will fit into one of those 6. And that is how you present it to the board. And in fact, I did this at my last company, use different colors, one for each 6. And on my roadmap, I actually put in colors. So it was really pretty. But they looked at it and went, oh, okay. So I see a lot of reduced risk needed. And then over time, over each quarter, the number of reduced risks went down because they should, because our maturity is improving. And you started to see more in the other 5.
Oh, that's awesome. I find technical people, we often have trouble basically reporting why what we're doing is awesome. So I talk a lot about metrics and about how to report up so they understand what you're doing and if it is or is not working. Because sometimes what you want to show is that it's not working the way we've been doing it. And so we need to change these processes so we can do a better job. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is a topic that's actually pretty hot within AppSec. Like a lot of companies, I saw a whole bunch this year where they came out with all your tools can feed into this dashboard and then you can finally see what's going on instead of looking through like 10 different tools dashboards and try and be like, okay, so this one says we're like pretty good, this one says we kind of suck, this one says we're in the middle, and you're trying to smash that into like a report to show your boss. And it's not the most fun part of the job, let me tell you.
Absolutely. Metrics are not. Does anybody enjoy metrics?
Well, when you have it all automated, it's fun, but when you have to manually do stuff, I have to say, it's a technical term. So you specialize in governance, risk, and compliance, or GRC, right? And we were talking briefly about how with software, sometimes there's no G, R, or C. Let's say we're working with a client who just has all their software developers doing whatever they want. Everyone's doing their own system development lifecycle. The code's all over the place. They all use different languages and frameworks. What could we start with to try to tame those wild cats?
Well, you have to start with understanding the unique psyche of the developer. And that is, if you take something that they like to play with away, they're not going to like you very much, and they're not going to follow your rules.
Okay.
Then you become that security person who just says no all the time. And then what happens when you say no all the time?
They do it anyway, but they do it behind your back, and they're programmers, so they can make sure you don't see.
Exactly. And that is the worst case scenario, because you're right. How would we even see it? So you have to do it very carefully. You have to understand that the goal of the company, and let's be completely honest here, the goal of the company is to make money. They're not going to make money with security, okay? Unless you are a security products company. And this is where some security people get it all twisted. They get egotistical, and they're like, we are so important to the company. No, you're not. You are a pain in the neck for the company. They have to pretend to like you because they have to have you, and they kind of understand why they need to have you, but that's not a tangible, a breach is not a tangible thing to them, right? You know what's tangible to them are new features coming out for their products. That's tangible. A new platform, right? That's tangible. So where security needs to understand, what security needs to understand here is that we support the business, and I know a lot, I'm going to make a lot of friends here, and we are there to support development of product and features. We are not there to say no. If you say no, they're going to go right around you. So the most important thing is, and that's why I say you've got to understand the psyche of what you're working with, because you will go far astray if you don't. And you have to be friendly. What I would do in your situation that you described would be to go in and make friends, make them see that I am not this combative security person who's going to take their favorite toy away from them. What I would do is then talk about the concept of the guardrails, where you know what? I can sleep at night if we kind of meet 70% of this, right?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
these changes over here, I'll just pretend not to have seen them, right? They don't exist to me, right? Like la 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 la. Put my fingers in my ears, la 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 la. But these 30%, I mean, you know what? Do your friend a favor over here. Just, let me or a member of my team know. And at the beginning, and we will figure out a way so you don't get stopped along the way, or you say whatever you want. Just bring us in. We just want to be invited to the party. That's all we care about, an invitation, right? Invite us in. We're fun people. The ones in the middle there, the actions, that's where you negotiate and you say, okay, if we do things, but we don't get to this point, then we're okay. I say, all right, that's fine. And that's what you need to come up with at the end of the day is the guardrails. Just do whatever you want to stay in the guardrails. Because I know y'all are way more important to the business than I am. So I'm going to let you do your thing. Right? This 30%, don't even bring us in. I don't even want to know about it. It doesn't matter to me. Marketing may care if you change the verbiage on a web page. I don't care personally in security. So you may want to let marketing know, but otherwise I don't care. But this 30%, invite us to the party, because this is what we really care about. But the rest of it, do whatever you want, as long as you stay in these guardrails. So a long answer to your question is that's where I would start, is understand if that's what's going on, all these different environments and tools and people and doing whatever they want and styles, code, I'm not going to change that. Nobody's going to be able to change that. So, but you got to play along with them.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you're saying we need a lot of collaboration,
Yeah.
some negotiation, and then some compromise where we can meet in a place where we're both comfortable with. So it's not going to be all the way on the security side where everyone has to do triple factor authentication 4 times a day, but we're also not going to be just wild cats roaming, doing whatever we want. We're going to try to herd the cats so they're sort of kind of going the same way. Yes.
Yeah. We're going to move in that direction. And maybe one day in like 20 years, you'll see that your old friend Olivia, I'll have retired by then. But maybe you will raise a glass to me and maybe you will say, she was right. Until let's just try to get this as much as we can in a good way.
I love it, Olivia. So before we run out of time, I want to ask 2 things. So one, I want you to tell us about your mentoring program, and then 2, I want you to tell us about how people can learn more about you and maybe perhaps, I don't know, a small business you might have started.
Oh, I don't know about, this small thing I've been doing. So the more exciting thing, I'm launching both of these at the same time, which has been, I've gone a little bananas. Yeah, a little bananas. But that's, it's like, so the first thing is Cyversity. That's CYVERSITY.org. It's an amazing organization that supports women and underrepresented minorities in cybersecurity. So it's a great organization to be part of, but I'm on the board, and my baby is the mentorship program. This is the second session coming up. Last session we had 300 people. I'm expecting well over 1,000 people in this next session, just because word of mouth and so forth. So in a nutshell, what we do is we not only give mentors in the shape of senior leaders to these, I call them kids, because most of them are kids, to these kids, but we also give the other things as well. I mean, you have to network, right, to get a job. So I set up 4 featured CISO chats. So big time CISOs come in a very casual series of 4 sessions, and we do Q&A and AMAs, and that's how I found out Phil Venables liked Star Trek over Star Wars, was from the last session when he was one of the CISOs. Then also have Bob Henderson, who was like a grandpa kind of type. It's kind of a safe space. You can ask him anything, any kind of dumb question. So every Friday he's on for half an hour just for a coffee chat. Jason Reboltz, who's great at breaking down complicated security concepts for people to understand. He's going to come on 2 or 3 times. We also have career chats. We have what I do chats. We have, so people understand what goes into the job itself. And career chats, we have like your brand, resume, interviewing, networking, all that good stuff. And it's on Slack, so it kind of builds this natural communication between anybody who wants to be involved. And finally, we all know that you're mentioning Forte. Having your hive is so critical for your success. I mean, your community, right? When something goes bad, it's like, right? They pull you off the ledge. So I have 5 communities that you can join, both mentor and mentees. So we need mentors. As I mentioned, it's going to be a huge mentor cohort. We just opened yesterday mentor registration. So go to cyversity.org and go to the Find a Mentor page. That is open until the end of December 2022. So become a mentor. It's really fun. We have a good time.
And if you are wondering how to find a link to this because you couldn't spell it because it's an unusual word, go to wehackpurple.com/podcasts. And there's going to be one called Olivia Rose. And guess what? It's going to be all about her. And in the show notes, we will have a link to this to make sure you get there.
Perfect. And you also posted it on your Mentoring Mondays as well. So if you follow Tanya, you'll have it there as well. And real quick, because I talked a lot about that, I just launched my own virtual CISO company, doing all things CISO, mostly on the strategic side, GRC, executive communications, assessments, all those, compliance assessments that are really painful, maturity. I will do all of those for you. And as you can tell from my prior answer, I am very fun and somewhat easy to work with, but I try to get along.
I think that's really important. I think there are so many security people where they just fight all day, every day. Having one you can get along with is really nice.
As I said before, I understand my position on the pole. Okay. I know they're going to fire security before they fire a programmer, right? So, but yeah, you can check it out at Rose, like the flower, Rose CISO Group.com. So Rose CISO Group.com, and just reach out. Happy to chat with you, and happy to refer you to others if I can't help you out.
Awesome. And that link is definitely also going to be in the show notes and on the YouTube page. So if you're watching this video on YouTube, go down to the notes below this and that link is going to be there for you. Thank you so much, Olivia. This was so awesome. We've been trying to plan this for quite a while, so I really appreciate you making the time because you're starting a new business, running this giant mentoring program. And thank you so much for fitting in the We Hack Purple podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I've been so excited. And then once I was invited, I was like, so thank you so much. Big fan, like everybody is, of Tanya Janica, of course, the Canadian, whom we welcome as our own in the United States.
Thank you. Okay, everyone, we will see you next time with another episode of the We Hack Purple podcast. Thank you, Olivia.
Thank you. Bye.